Second game of the Six Nations this weekend, folks, doesn't quite have the billing of the first. Following up the Ireland-France grudge match for potentially the title of the Six Nations is Scotland and Wales. And I like to watch the press conferences prior to the games if they are available. Matt Sherritt's press conference was pretty chipper. He's very realistic. I quite like watching him talk. There's no nonsense. He doesn't have the negativity which was around when Gats was given his press conferences, which could be a little bit tetchy, whereas Matt Sherritt, he's very realistic. He talked about the fact that he expected the team to have a bit of a bounce back, but he's not kind of counting any chickens. He's named an unchanged 15. Then the Scottish press conference it just felt a bit low, which makes sense because Scotland once again have kind of gone into a Six Nations campaign hopeful, and with 2 losses under their belt. This game, doesn't have the kind of same bite about it as if they were still kind of in the race for a Six Nations title. But the game is still on. Their world rankings are certainly going to be very important for the Scots in that 7th position. They cannot afford to lose this game. And for Wales, it is about maintaining or improving those performance levels they had against the Irish. Let's go through the squads, some of the predictions and stats and recent history, and you guys can let us know your thoughts on how this one's going to go. The Scots have kept the starting 15 largely unchanged. Darcy Graham is back on the right wing. That's basically the only change to the starting 15. Remember, he had that wicked, awful head knock with Finn Russell against the Irish, and it was pleasing to see them kind of sit him out for a bit of time. They didn't try to push him back in. I'm not sure if he was actually ruled out medically, or they just decided to kind of treat him with kid gloves. But either way, it was pleasing not to see him back into action too quickly after such a big head knock. But he is back this week now that it's been, quite some time since that Irish game. So that's the only change. Schoeman, Cherry, and Fagerson, that's Zander, are the same front row as previously. So they've kind of resisted the urge to keep rotating the loose head, which they've done for the first few games. Scrum time will be interesting because we've seen Wales have struggles, and we've seen Wales perform occasionally pretty well this Six Nations at scrum time. So you would think, especially with Lions places on the line as well, the Scottish front row would be looking to front up. Jonny Gray and Grant Gilchrist are the second row. That's pretty steady. I'm not sure we've seen quite the best out of Jonny Gray just yet as well. There were some people prior to the Six Nations when I was all excited about seeing him play, saying he's not kind of the same player he was. I'm not sure if you guys are right, but we will see. We'll see how he's able to kind of impress or not, especially with the defensive work he is known for. Jamie, Ritchie, Rory, Darge, and Jack Dempsey, same back row. Boy, was Ritchie bloody good at the breakdown in that Calcutta Cup match. One of the finest performances I've seen in terms of just winning turnovers and putting your body on the line. We'll see if he's able to do that kind of thing. And you got 2 bloody good fetches, especially with Darge there as well. So the Welsh will need to be very protective of their ball at the breakdown, but they got a couple of good fetches of their own in their back row. Dempsey will also be looking to get some go forward on the carry when he's given the opportunity. White and Russell, 9-10 combo. You would think they'll be looking to kind of spin it as much as they can. Gregor Townsend was kind of grilled in the press conference about should you be opting for more penalties, should you be opting for drop goals and whatnot, and Gregor begrudgingly kind of just said no. Begrudgingly is not the right word. He just kind of listened to the questions and said, no, the team goes for tries or penalties, try to win penalties, because he said they weren't given actually that many shots at goal in their last game. But, man, when you got weapons like Duhan and Darcy and Blair Kinghorn in your back 3, these guys better be getting the ball. That's the job of Finn and Ben White to do that. And then the midfielder Tom Jordan and Hugh Jones continues on as well. It's such a shame this campaign we've not got to see Tuipulotu play, but injury is pretty cruel like that. But this midfield combo has also clicked, I think, pretty well. Ashman, Sutherland, and Hurd, that's the front row replacements. So Sutherland is back in. Gregor Brown and Matt Fagerson are the only 2 forward replacements apart from the front rowers, because they've actually gone with a increasingly rare 5-3 split with George Horne, Stafford, McDowall, and Kyle Rowe, the 3 back replacements. I am pleased for George Horne because I feel like that guy doesn't get as much game time as he should at international level. The dude is a proper threat, especially against tired bodies. So that's the Scottish squad. Like I mentioned, the press conference was just a bit flat, understandably so. For Wales, as I mentioned, the starting 15 is unchanged. unchanged. Nicky Smith, Elliot D, Wilgriff John, same. Wilgriff John looked pretty good on his return to Wales, to be fair. So that was really impressive against the good Irish pack when they played a fortnight ago. Will Rollins and Dafford Jenkins, that's the second row. And then Jack Morgan, Tommy Riffle, and Taulupe Faletau, the back row. Faletau was busy. He was busy around the park against the Irish. And then, not surprisingly, your two top tacklers for that Welsh side against the Irish, Jack Morgan and Tommy Riffle. So those guys are going to need to do more of the same. Tackle the house down, make yourself a threat at the breakdown, and then when you do get the turnover ball, if they can play some quick rugby, flat back line, kicks chasing, you never know what could happen. Backs-wise, Thomas Williams and Gareth Anscombe, so same. They've kept a 10 at 10, which is pleasing, and then Ben Thomas and Max Llewellyn. Llewellyn maybe didn't get as many chances as we would have liked. There's a lot of billing about Llewellyn in the build-up to this one with his premiership form. He maybe didn't get into as much space as we would have liked, but it was comfortable seeing Ben Thomas at 12. He looks, I think, better there than we saw him at 10. And then Ellis, who looked really sharp on his debut, got through a heap of run meters and came bloody close to scoring a try. He's still there on the left. Tom Rogers on the right. He's looked the best under the kick chase. And then Blair Murray has genuinely looked the most likely to do something from nothing in this Welsh backline. I mean, he had 11 defenders beaten against Ireland. Nobody beats 11 defenders against Ireland. But he did it for a side which is, still winless, which is pretty impressive in itself. Some stats for these teams. The Scottish goal kicking is obviously under the spotlight. It was phenomenal in the 2024 Six Nations. The numbers are not fantastic for this year's one. We've had a 60%, a 75%, and a 0% from the tee from the first three games. So, yeah, they would obviously like to get those numbers up. Defenders beaten, though. They are getting loads of them. 30 a game, which is more than anybody else. So this Scottish side has the attack in them, but despite that, they've only managed the one bonus point for 4 tries thus far in the Six Nations. So I do think the journos who were grilling Gregor do have a little bit of a point of potentially some points left out there. In other games, for the chances the Scots have had, they probably would have scored more points, but it's not quite all gone their way this season. For Wales, I mean, the possession, the clean breaks, the defenders beaten, all took a rise in that last game compared to the Gatland games, the Six Nations. The tackle percentage was actually higher as well. So if we see more of that, I think Wales will be on the right track, but doing it a second game in a row will be a bigger test of where they're at because, as Matt Sherrod himself mentioned, the first game is the kind of bounce game, but they need to be more kind of consistent than that. Recent history between the sides, it's 3-2 to the Scots. The Scots have won the two most recent ones, 27-26 last year, which was close, 35-7, which was not close at Murrayfield the year before. And they also won the one back in 2020 in Llanelli, which was a first win in Wales, I think, for quite a while for the Scots, 14-10. But there are a couple of Welsh wins in there in 2021 and 2022 as well. One away and one home. So it's kind of a relatively even split. With the average score being 24-18 to the Scots. So there's only one real game where the Scots have given the Welsh a hiding, and that is that 35-7. All the other games have been within a score, whichever way they've gone. So they've tended to be close. The predictions-wise, it's predicted to be a bit of a hiding. Scotland are 16-point favourites with the bookies and 14-point favourites with the Rugby Forecast algorithm. So Wales not given a heck of a lot of a chance, but as I mentioned, generally, that's not the way it's gone down in the last 5 years between these sides. Kickoff is a 4:15 one at Murrayfield. Andrea Piatti, the Italian, is the ref. Fingers crossed he has a good game. But yeah, if you guys want any British and Irish Lions gear, check down in the description. I got a link to that shop. They're an affiliate of the channel. So if you go on the tour, if you want to get yourself some red gear ahead of the tour to Australia, check that link. I'm sure they've got some sales on or some deals. They always have something going on there, an affiliate like I mentioned. So yeah, tell them 2 cents sent you with that link. But you guys let us know your thoughts. Have you got Wales with a chance, or do you think the Scots are going to be too good? You guys take care, and we'll talk to you guys again soon. See you later.